Hey everyone, it's Jason, and this is your midweek cruise news update. And imagine being on your cruise and you hear an announcement from the captain that the ship is entering a space debris warning zone. And this story about Royal Caribbean shows why they're clearly a well-oiled machine, even when they have bad news. So cruise story number 1, imagine being on your cruise ship and your captain comes on over the intercom and announces that the ship is entering into a space debris warning zone. Now this was on the Island Princess. They're currently doing a world cruise and they're in the Indian Ocean. Now he said that this was a warning from the National Hydrographic Office. And he felt it was his duty as a captain to inform his passengers, even though he felt that there was very little concern over it versus any other day in the Indian Ocean. And what I like what he said was here is, if nothing else, it will create an elaborate light show at night. So imagine being on this, the captain doesn't tell you, and you see all this debris at night falling from the sky. There would be some concerns there. So I love that he communicated this to the passengers. Hey, don't worry about it. If you see this, this is the reason for that. So on a cruise at night, what is the most amazing thing or odd thing that you've ever seen in the night sky? Let me know in the comments. So cruise story number 2, and speaking of space and the final frontier, Star Trek announced their 8th annual cruise, and this will be on the Explorer of the Seas out of Miami. It's a week-long cruise about this time next year, February 23rd through March 2nd. It's a Western Caribbean cruise. And they're going to have actors from many of the series that will be on the cruise, and their headliner will be Kate McGrew. Now, she was Captain Janeway on Star Trek Voyager from 1995 to 2001. Would you ever do a Star Trek themed cruise? Have you ever done any themed cruise, and what were your thoughts on it? Let me know in the comments. So cruise story number 3, and I always like mentioning this, as the Carnival Celebration rescued 20 people off a wooden raft in the Florida Straits. They called the Coast Guard, they gave them food and water, they brought a cutter out, and they rescued these people. Now I know this can be controversial, I know people have a lot of opinions on this, but if you've ever been fishing 20, 30, 40 miles offshore, off Florida, and you come up on a raft, and you wonder, what happened to the people? There's nothing there. That's happened twice to me. One time I called the Coast Guard and they said, hey, can you stick around till we come out? The second time they said, if you don't see anything, you're free to go. So I appreciate the cruise lines doing this. So before I get to cruise story number 4, I would ask that you please like this video, as it does help the channel grow. Also consider subscribing, as I do daily cruise news shorts and tips and tricks. I also do longer cruise videos on Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays at 8 a.m. Thanks so much. So cruise story number 4, and even when they're delivering bad news, I think you have to be impressed by this from Royal Caribbean. So Royal Caribbean announced their 2nd Icon class ship, the Star of the Seas, will not be ready for its inaugural sailing August 17th, 2025, some 17 months in advance. So now the inaugural sailing will be August 31st, 2025. And I am sure people are disappointed that we're on the 17th and 24th cruises. But 17 months in advance allows passengers to maybe move it to the 31st or into September, or make other arrangements with other Royal Caribbean ships if they want. When you compare that to what Princess Cruises has done with this new Sun Princess that was supposed to go out on the February 8th, 10 days advance notice they gave people, wouldn't be ready. You have no option of booking another cruise going out of Europe at that time. Just not going to happen. Then they, 5 days in advance, cancel the February 18th cruise. Once again, giving their passengers no option to rebook, be able to get on another ship. It's really impressive what Royal Caribbean can figure out. This is their 2nd ship. They already know they're behind schedule and they need to adjust things so to make their passengers happy. I'm just impressed by this. And I think this is something that other cruise lines need to learn from. You need to pad your time in there. You need to understand it's not always about dollars. I get they're for-profit companies. But that bad taste in your mouth, if you were on one of those princess cruises, man, it would be tough to go back. I mean, I'd have a bad taste. And I have the Star of the Princess booked. We have the Sun Princess booked. We're looking at booking other princess cruises. I like princess cruises. We're almost elite with them. But I have to say, this is why Royal Caribbean right now is the industry leader. Things like this. What do you guys think? I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much for your support. And until I talk to you next week, happy cruising.